Hi, welcome to Creative Emotions, where you're going to get this encouragement, motivation, information, empowerment, these good vibes. You're going to get some transparency because overall, I'm going to be real with you, okay? I want to welcome you guys so much for joining me. Thank you so much. Forgive me for my tardiness. I had a few meetings to go to today. But again, I thank you guys for joining me. I won't be before you long, but I wanted to talk about something that will help us catapult into this new year. I do want to let you know that this is a live show, and you can call in at 313-266-2811 if you just want to give a comment. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. If this is your first time watching, make sure you like and subscribe. Guess what? This Friday, I have poetry and conversations coming Friday 16th, 8 p.m. to 11. It is a $10 cover. I have the featuring poet, urban legend Obasaki. And if you have never heard this guy, he is thebomb.com. Just like my last feature, I had Girl Boy on and, did her thing. So every time you come to Poetry and Conversations, it's just a real good vibe. We have real good grown-up conversation, and it's just a really good time. So hey, Martin, thank you so much for joining. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please forgive my tardiness again. So today I want to talk about unforgiveness. Unforgiveness and how it truly, truly affects us. So it's a modern day prison, if you really think about it. While we walk around somewhat free physically, the subconscious mind holds on to feelings, emotions, and actions that is somewhat like a prison. And so I want you to be mindful of, the fact that if you're holding unforgiveness, how is it affecting you in your daily life? So unforgiveness is a state of emotional and mental distress that results from a delayed response in forgiving an offender. And you all know, thank you so much, TL Audio. Thank you so much. Good evening. If you all know that, if somebody has wronged you, it is very, very hard to let it go, even if you're in a sensitive space. But this is what, I'm encouraging you to do. When you think about unforgiveness and you think about how it affects you, it is detrimental to our health that, we make sure we do our due diligence in letting stuff go and not holding people captive in your mind. It is very detrimental to your health. I will be in the house. What's up, Mr. Johnson? Thank you so much. Yay, you coming to Poetry and Conversations? Thank you so much. So the reality is we all have been through situations we unknowingly or not on purpose hurt someone, whether in word or deed. I know, when you don't understand the power of your words, you can say some harmful things. And so just being mindful of that, dang, I hurt somebody. You don't want to be the reason why somebody has to heal. You don't want to be the reason why, someone is feeling inadequate or just not enough, or, they're feeling like they don't trust anybody because of your actions. And again, we have all been through this, whether you have done it knowingly or unknowingly. I asked this guy, again, being in the position that I'm in at the plant, I asked him, he told someone he was going to make them cry. And so just with him saying that, I knew that he understood his power, but she didn't understand the power that he had. So it was, oh no, I didn't call her out her name. I didn't say none of this. He tried to talk that to me, but I let him know, yeah, you can't run that on me. I know exactly what you're doing and you know your power. And his eyes was open oh my God. And so again, some people use this as manipulative tactics, and it's not good. You don't want to be that person that has to eat, the seeds that you put in the ground because you know what you're doing. And in fact, the young lady came to me and she was all angry and upset. And then she came to me and she started crying. After she told me, he said he was going to make me cry. And I'm like, do we not see the correlation of this thing? When people say things and then it happen, how we have power with our words. And so going back to unforgiveness, you do not want to hold that, and you don't want to be the person that someone is holding that to, because it's detrimental. So the issue comes when we decide to harbor those feelings and emotion. That is the true issue. Unforgiveness also robs us of the life God has intended for us to have. So unforgiveness can definitely turn into bitterness. I've seen it, honey. I've seen a person's life change, like from this upbeat person to now just bitter, mad, negative. And it's like, geez, like, where did this come from? And why are they feeling this way? Because it does not change the outcome of what happened to you. And so you're really just adding on to the suffering that you already have going on in your mind when you don't forgive. So that's something that we definitely have to be mindful of, just making sure that we're consciously forgiving. Consciously. So I'm sure we have all, had this it's been familiar about what it looks like rather than it's from ourselves or others. It's truly sad. So surprisingly, most of us got the idea of been forgiven, or we are to forgive from religious institutions. But this action is far away from these sectors, surprisingly. Like, you go to church and they telling you to forgive, the Lord say forgive, and it's forgiven, and, all of these different things. But in that arena, it's really not happening how it should. So meaning the church can be toxic and unwelcoming. And, when you think about this is where this principle should be taking place of unforgiveness. It should be taught and exercised because it is damaging people. It is definitely damaging people. And I've seen, I hate to say church people. When I say church people, those are people that are going along with the motions, but not taking the principles personal that they're learning. You're hurting people. You're hurting people with these things. You're not, holding stuff against them or judging them. It's just, it's hurting people. So we have to take into account as believers our own individual thoughts and actions, and if we are forgiven. And if you're not, why not? Why are you not forgiven? I want you to ask yourself this question. Why are you not forgiven? When you say, oh, I never forgive them, I never do this, or I'll never do that. Like, why? Where is that coming from? And is it helping you? If it's not helping you, I am here to encourage you, to implore you, please think about that. Think about how it's affecting you and what is really going on. So Matthew 18:21 is a great example of the mercy we are given at times, but not willing to show the same grace. And for those that don't know, this is the ESV version. So then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times. Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who wished to settle accounts with his servants. When he began to settle, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. And since he could not pay, his master ordered him to be sold with his wife and children and all that he had, and payment to be made. So the servant fell to his knees, imploring him, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything. And out of pity for him, the master of that servant released him and forgave him that debt. But when the same servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii. And seizing him, he began to choke him, saying, pay what you owe. Just picture that. You literally just you and your family was about to get sold, and somebody had mercy on you. They forgave you, your debt. But then he done choked this man and said, pay what you owe. So his fellow servant fell down and pleaded with him, have patience with me, I will pay you. He refused and went and put him in prison until he should pay the debt. When his fellow servants saw what had taken place, they were greatly distressed, and they went and reported to their master all that had taken place. Then his master summoned him and said to him, you wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you pleaded with me. And should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant as I had mercy on you? And in anger, his master delivered him to the jailers until he should pay all his debt. So also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. And so I look at that, it's a lot of parables in there that, just give us, it kind of make it doable. You know, some of that stuff is kind of over your head, or they speak in different, you know, people say thee, thou, and thus is, you know, but go to different versions so you can understand that. But just looking at that as an example, we, again, knowingly or unknowingly, doing things to people, being forgiven, people still dealing with you, but then as soon as somebody do something to you, it's like, oh, you holding it for dear life. And so I want to encourage you again today. If you're just joining, I'm talking about forgiveness and how it affects us, and sometimes negatively, most of the times negatively. So now this scenario sounds familiar. Again, we have done this, I'm sure, and nobody wants to be done wrong, but this is just being real. How much more should we continue to build boundaries, show people how we want to be treated instead of holding on to unforgiveness? Thank you so much, Rod. I see you guys. Thank you. Big shout out to everybody who's watching on YouTube. Thank you guys for rocking with me every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Rod say, forgive and you shall be forgiven. Can't run that on cue. I hear you, bro. Leon, forgiveness is a choice, and you have to be ready to make the choice. Understanding is the gift of forgiveness. Yes, and I definitely will be hitting on that, because this is a journey. And you can say all day with your mouth, like, yeah, I forgive, but then your actions are not showing that people can tell. So you definitely have to go through your healing process. People can only operate out of what is deposited in them, their core, their values, their beliefs, experience, and the thoughts that they possess. So I don't really, I try not to judge people. I don't hold anything to anybody. This is not personal. When people do things, I know it's not personal. I know it's not, always for me, or they coming after me. It is whatever they're going through, their thought processes, again, their values, their core beliefs. And I chose a while ago just not to hold on to anything. I'm not holding on to anything, and not even myself. Things that I allowed and I tolerated because I learned from it. But I used to be, thinking like, how this person gonna do that to me, or how this person gonna do this to me. And I did for a minute hold on to these feelings, and you have that gut feeling in your stomach when you feel like somebody has wronged you. But when you know that this thing is not personal, it is all based on the individual and what they're going through and what they know and what they see out of their lenses. It's so much freedom in that. It's like, aw, like I start looking at people now like, dang, they really feel that way. And it's really messed up because they missing it. But I don't take it personal anymore. We can't. You can't, when you really think about how we all come up different, different things that we deal with, just all of it is just different. But this is not an excuse. But I realize, again, we are all living on our own journey and should, from birth, no matter the belief, have an innate ability to know right from wrong. And I feel like we do. When babies, like, how do babies lie? You come and be like, what you got? And they be putting it behind their back. Nothing. How you know how to lie? How you know? Like, but you're doing something that's not right, even as a baby. So it's an innate ability in us, and somehow on this journey, we lose our way. We lose our way with having that compassion for each other, that love for each other. We lose our way. And so this is something that I'm encouraging you to look at, and again, take inventory. Are you holding on to unforgiveness? Are you holding somebody hostage in your mind and in your heart? Are you holding them hostage? Like, I'll never forgive. I'll never let it go. I'll never, you're thinking all these different things, but that's not going to help you. It's not going to help you on this journey. And it can actually, like, your body, you can get, certain things in your body from holding on to, unforgiveness and just being bitter. Like, that can affect your body. So I really want you to think about that. A personality is something we gain while growing up, learning, taking on beliefs, thoughts, attitudes, past, creating the future, and changing our love and care for one another. I learned that the best thing to do, again, is to love my neighbor like I love myself. I feel like people who dog other people, you don't love yourself. You feel it. You can't love yourself. If you wishing bad on people, you can't love yourself, because your brother and sister is a reflection of your world and what's going on with you. And so I learned like the most valuable thing that I can do as a person, as a woman, as a mother, as a sister, as a friend, as an observer of everything that's going on, is I can pray for people. I can send prayers and don't even know you. and it's deemed it's so valuable. So what is true forgiveness? Is it forgetting and saying, this, it never happened, No, that's not what it is. But forgetting, again, is making that conscious decision to say, I'm not taking this into 2023. Making that conscious decision to say, this is stopping right here. Let me deal with this. Going through the healing process, getting therapy if you need to, talking to the person if you need to, that's the most grown-up way. And unfortunately, the vibe that people have right now, direct communication is looked at, is not looked at good, because people automatically, feel some type of way again. They delete you. They, talk about it. She had a nerve to come up to me like this. And it's like, it's all in love. Everything should be done in love. So again, you can't talk about how people taking it. I know I choose to have direct communication. If I feel like a person has an issue, I'm going to the person. Hey, I know in my eyes, I haven't done anything, but have I offended you in any type of way? That's done in love. And then the person to say, you know what? Yeah, I just felt like, what you said wasn't right. And you're like, oh my God, no, I didn't mean it that way. This is what I was saying. And clearing up those misunderstandings so you don't walk around holding unforgiveness for a misunderstanding, because that's usually how it happens. So again, I want you guys to be encouraged in this. Rod, is unforgiveness a part of not wanting to deal with someone that offended you? Rod, I feel like it's you definitely have to be careful of who you have in your space. But if you hold it in your heart, you feel some type of way, and every time you talk about it or think about it, you have these emotions about it, that means you have not forgiven. That means it's still a living thing that's going on. But if you say, you know what, I forgive you. What he say in the word, forgive them. What Jesus say? I forgive them, Lord. They know not what they do. Not knowing not what you do is the same thing as not a person not personally coming to attack you, but only operating out of what's natural for them. So, I feel like I will forgive a person. That don't mean that I'm gonna still have you in that same space. I don't think that that's you not forgiving them. Martin, that's the space I am in. Don't take it personal. Too much energy. Yes, sir. Definitely too much energy. Shout out to DJ Banks. Thank you guys so much for joining. So I believe at some point we should heal and not keep revisiting the hurts of the past. We are going into 2023. Again, I said I wasn't going to be before you long because this is a straight up message. Unforgiveness has affected everyone. And if you look back over your life and you look at, your parents, you like, they should have did this or they should have did that or they should have did it like this. And if they would have done this, that would have happened. And, you going back all of these things, that's unforgiveness. And you have to let that go. You have to really consider your parents. They're human. They had their own life. They had their own traumas and dramas and, different parents or the lack thereof. No parent. How about that? Parents trying to be parents without parents. So you have to really take that in consideration. Like, it's hard enough for them. So you may have to forgive without ever receiving an apology. And just to be able to clear that heart space. Again, we going into 2023. We have to clear this space, come into what you want, what you truly want. Not just tangible things, houses and cars and all this kind of stuff. Let's talk about peace. Let's talk about joy. Let's talk about doing it on purpose, being conscious, being in your now moment, not stressing yourself out, going too far or looking too far behind you. So I have a few signs of, having unforgiveness in your heart. And so I just want you to do a little inventory before I end. Do a little inventory. Do you see these things in yourself? Just being petty and impulsive. When you're being petty. When you're doing something. When you have those thoughts that are just like, I know it, but they did this or we ain't even got to make no example. if you're being petty, right? Because forgiving, as my grandmother taught me, is for you, not the other person. Correct. AJ, thank you guys. Thank you, sis, so much for joining. But yeah, it is for you. Number 2, you are in a desperate state of wanting them to feel what you feel or felt. Again, don't wish any bad on anybody. because those seeds that you put in the ground definitely have to take root. And so you want to be careful not to be over here talking about, I wish they this and I wish you talking on their business and their family and things. Don't do that. Again, deal with this thing however you need to deal with it. Chew off as much as you can, but be intentional with forgiving anybody that has wronged you. It will help. It definitely will help. So you definitely don't want to be, have that toxic just brewing of guilt and shame and self-judgment and self-sabotaging. You don't want that, because, that mind, when you quiet, when you by yourself, that'll take you out of here. And it's so sad. I want to give a shout out to, people who are struggling. I want to send you love and light. I understand everybody's going through something different, and we can never judge. We can never compare. But if you are struggling and this unforgiveness is eating you inside out, I am begging you to please seek the help that you need and start taking the necessary steps to freeing yourself from this thing. Don't hold anything to anybody, because if we leave today, we want to have a place in our heart that's open to receive the life that, the life that we have even after this. So please do not hold unforgiveness. Not taking responsibility for how you truly feel, so you blame the offender. So if you're not taking responsibility, this is something I want you to think about. Like, you know what? It's not them. It's me. I accepted it. And what in me accepted that? And not to beat yourself down. Please don't beat yourself up. Be patient with yourself. Understand we are all growing. We are all learning. We are all trying to do this thing the best way we can. So please. You can name everything a person has done and keeping a list. If you're keeping a list and checking it twice, I'm going to need you not to do that. I'm going to need you to put the list down. Put the list down. It is not helping. And if you can sit there and name all of that stuff, but then you can't even go back to the original offense, that's an indication it's time to forgive. It's time to let that go. It's time to put that in the abyss, okay? So that you can walk in your freedom, your total freedom. The next thing, you keep replaying the scene. You keep replaying it in your mind. You keep replaying it in your heart. You just keep replaying it. You keep talking about it. You're gossiping about it. Every time you turn around, you're talking about it. It's your main topic. These are signs that your heart is not forgiving right now. And you need to take account of that. So again, I'm going to leave you with a couple of ways. Just take that self-inventory. Go to the person that has wronged you. Write a letter to the person that has wronged you. Go to therapy if you need to talk about it. I am a life coach. So after you go to therapy, I'm here to hold you accountable, your self-inquiry, and, hold you accountable to the things that you say you wanted. See the things that you want to see in your life. Hold you accountable to that self-love. That self-love is loving your neighbor like you love yourself. And so I'll take that journey with you. Again, I want you guys to be encouraged. Forgiveness, again, is for you. It's like you can't drink the poison expecting somebody else to die. So I hope this has encouraged you tonight. Again, I wasn't going to be before you long. I hope it has encouraged you tonight. And I want to remind you, Friday, 8 p.m. to 11 is Poetry and Conversations. It's at 21573 Grand River. It's a $10 cover. It is poetry and conversation. It's open mic. So if you got something you want to put on the mic, make sure you come down, vibe with me, come and chill with me. Be like, hey, Q, take a picture with me. I appreciate all the love and support. Everything I do, it's just to show you that I love you like I love myself. And so I hope this has helped. Make sure you share this with your family and friends, and meet me here next week. Matter of fact, next week I won't be here, but I got some special guests that's going to be in my place, honey, and they got a good show for you. So make sure you come here next week, 6 o'clock. Don't be late. I love you, and there is nothing you can do about it. Peace.